პირველ რიგში ძალიან დიდი მადლობა მინდა გადაგიხადოთ ყველას მობრძანებისთვის. Გვესმის რომ პანდემიიდან გამომდინარე შეიძლება ეს გადაწყვეტილებაც კი ძალიან რთული ყოფილიყო თითოეული ჩვენთაგანისთვის, თუმცა ეს მხარდაჭერა ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანია ამ კონსორციუმისთვის, ამ პროექტისთვის და ჩვენი ქვეყნისთვის. მე გახლავართ მერაბ ლომინაძე. მე ახლახან შემოვერთდი ამ გუნდს, როგორც დირექტორი და ერთ-ერთი ხელმძღვანელი ქართული მხრიდან. ეს ჩემთვის დიდი პატივია, ვინაიდან და რადგანაც მსგავსი პროექტი საქართველოს დამოუკიდებლობიდან მოყოლებული ჯერჯერობით არ განხორციელებულა. ჩემთვის ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანია, რომ ქვეყნის აღმშენებლობას არ შეეშალოს ხელი და ერთად, ერთიანი აზრით და ერთიანი პოზიციით განვამტკიცოთ ის დამოუკიდებლობა, რომელიც ჩვენ მოვიპოვეთ. დღეს დამოუკიდებლობის უსაფრთხოების ზღვარი გადის ეკონომიკაზე და კერძოდ გადის ენერგოდამოუკიდებლობაზე. და მეტწილად ეს ყველაფერი თავის მხრივ დამოკიდებულია სწორედაც რომ აი ამ პროექტის ჯეროვნად, სრულფასოვნად და დროულად განხორციელებაზე. მე მგონია რომ ძალიან ხშირად ხდება ამ პროექტის არაადეკვატური შეფასება. ეს როგორც ბრძანეთ არ არის მხოლოდ 840 მილიონი დოლარის ინვესტიცია. ეს არ არის მხოლოდ 2000 სამუშაო ადგილი, სადაც დასაქმდებიან როგორც ჩვენი ქვეყნის მოქალაქეები და მეტწილად ჩვენი ქვეყნის მოქალაქეები, ასევე მოწვეული ექსპერტები, რომლებიც გაზრდიან ჩვენი თანამემამულეების კვალიფიკაციას და მათ უკვე მიეცემათ საშუალება, რომ მომდევნო პროექტები უკვე თავად განვახორციელოთ. მე მინდა ვისარგებლო შესაძლებლობით და მადლობა გადაუხადო საერთაშორისო ორგანიზაციებს, მადლობა გადაუხადო საელჩოებს, მადლობა გადაუხადო საქართველოს მთავრობას იმ მხარდაჭერისთვის, რომელიც ამ პროექტის მიმართ იყო გამოცხადებული. სამწუხაროდ ის კომუნიკაცია, რომელიც იყო პროექტის დაწყებიდან დღემდე, აღმოჩნდა არასაკმარისი. ერთ-ერთი ფუნქცია ჩემი პირადად ამ კომპანიაში და ამ კონსორციუმში გაახლავთ აი ამ ხარვეზის აღმოფხრა ჩემს კოლეგებთან ერთად. დარწმუნებული ვარ, რომ მას შემდეგ რაც მოხდება ინფორმაციის სრულად, ჯეროვნად და ძალიან ტრანსპარენტულად მიწოდება ყველა დაინტერესებული მხარისთვის, ამის შემდეგ ის პრობლემატიკა, რომელსაც ჩვენ ყველანი დღეს ვხედავთ, გაიწევა გვერდზე და მწვანე შუქი აენთება ამ პროექტის განხორციელებას. მწვანე შუქი აენთება ზოგადად ენერგეტიკაში იმ ენერგორესურსების ათვისებას, რომელიც ჩვენ ქვეყანას გააჩნია. ჩვენ არ გვაქვს ნავთობი, ჩვენ არ გვაქვს გაზი და შეიძლება ღმერთმა დაგვიფარაკიდევაც იმით, რომ არ გვაქვს ეს ყველაფერი. მაგრამ ჩვენ გვაქვს ის რესურსები, ის უპირატესობა, რომელიც ჩვენ მეზობლებს არ გააჩნიათ. მგონია, რომ ჩვენი სამეზობლო კი ეს კიდევ დამატებითი გამოწვევა გახლავთ ჩვენი ქვეყნისთვის, ჩვენი დამოუკიდებლობისთვის. არ ყავს მარტივი მეზობლები და ეს ყველამ ვიცით. მაგრამ ჩვენი გზა გვაქვს არჩეული როგორც ქვეყანას, ჩვენ გვაქვს აღებული ის კურსი, რომელიც გულისხმობს დემოკრატიული დასავლური ტიპის საზოგადოების ჩამოყალიბებას. და ამ გზაზე კიდევ გაუნმეორდები და ვიტყვი, რომ ქვაკუთხედი წარმატებისა არის სწორედაც რომ ენერგოდამოუკიდებლობა და იმ რესურსების ბოლომდე ათვისება, რომელიც ჩვენ ქვეყანას გააჩნია. ახლა მინდა გადავიდე უფრო კონკრეტულ, ასე ვთქვათ, ჩვენს დღევანდელ ღონისძიებაზე და მოგახსენოთ, რომ ეს არის ერთ-ერთი პირველი ღონისძიება, რომლითაც ჩვენ გავხსნით სერიას კომუნიკაციისა სხვადასხვა ჯგუფებთან. დღეს მოწვეული არიან მეტწილად უცხოელები, მეტწილად ჩვენი პარტნიორი ქვეყნების წარმომადგენლები, ხოლო შემდეგი შეხვედრები იქნება უფრო ფოკუს ჯგუფებად განხორციელებული ყველა იმ მხარესთან, რომელიც დაინტერესებულია ენერგეტიკით, ყველა იმ მხარესთან, რომელიც დაინტერესებულია ამ პრობლემატიკით და მე გამზოგადებოდი ყველა იმ მხარესთან, რომელსაც გული შესტკივა ამ ქვეყნის დამოუკიდებლობისთვის, რომელსაც გული შესტკივა თავის ქვეყნისთვის. მე მინდა კიდევ ერთხელ მადლობა გადაგიხადოთ, მე მინდა პრესას ძალიან დიდი მადლობა გადაუხადო და განგიცხადოთ ერთი რამ, თქვენ ხართ ის ბერკეტი, თქვენ ხართ ის საშუალება, რომლითაც უნდა აღდგეს კომუნიკაცია მხარეებს შორის. თქვენ ხართ ის ხიდი, რომელზეც სწორად უნდა გაიაროს მხარეებმა და მივახციოთ ერთობლივად წარმატებას. Basically, I would like to express my gratefulness to all of you for finding your time, and especially during this pandemic period. I'm sure it's not an easy decision to go to an event like this when there is pandemic all over the world, but your support is essential, and we feel it, and thank you very much for that. Basically, today, this is not about this project. This is not about the energy sector. It's about the security of this country. It's about democracy. It's about development of Georgia and establishing here a Western type of a governance with rule of law, with democratic society, and with the Western-oriented public. We believe that this project will be just the beginning for our big success that is to come. We feel your support, we're very grateful, and thank you once again for coming. My name is Merab. I just recently joined the team of this project, and I'm honored to say that I'm part of the team that's going to be building Georgia's future. I'm sure that this project will get a green light, not only from the government, not only from the international organizations, but from the public as well. Once everybody is aware of the importance of this project. Namakhvani is not a place. Namakhvani is a guideline towards democracy and freedom. Thank you very much. So the press is out. I personally believe that the team that I've seen here within the last few days, and as I said, I recently joined the company, these are the top qualified executives that know their work. They know how to build, they know how to build safely, and they know how to build for good, for future. It's not a project for 10 years, it's not a project for 15 years, as people like to highlight it. This is a project for century. And I would like to ask Zeki, who is the head of our team, my colleague, to basically greet us and say a couple of words to all of us and introduce this project to all of us. Zeki, please.
Ladies and gentlemen and dear ambassadors, welcome to Namakhvani Project Focus Session. Thank you for your attendance and sparing your valuable time with us. My name is Zeki Kocaoğlu. I am the General Manager of Enka Renewables. As you may know, that Enka Renewables is the partnership of Enka Turkey and Clean Energy Norway. Today, we would like to give you the first-hand information about the project, and we would like to update the status of our project. We place very great importance to the Namakhvani project, as we believe that it will be a significant milestone for the future of Georgia in terms of gaining energy independence. Namakhvani project will be the largest contributor to the energy independence efforts of the country, and we are very proud of being a part of this important task. In addition to the strategic importance, our project is also very important from economical aspects, which I am sure that you all are aware of it. Besides of its direct contribution to the Georgian economy, Namakhvani will also set an example of the foreign investors and build confidence that Georgia is a valuable market for investments in the energy and also other business lines. As I mentioned earlier, we are very aware of the importance of the project, and we know how big our responsibilities are. I am an engineer who has put my 30 years in the contracting business without any break. However, I should confess that I have found my knowledge limits on how to build a HPP at the Namakhvani project. I thought up to 1 year ago that engineering drawings, steel, concrete were enough to construct a dam. But now I know that they are not enough. Public relations and the effective communication are also needed and important to find a success. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to inform you the latest actions that we took for the sake of healthy project execution. They are grouped in 3 items. The first one is a group of scientists and experts who are very known and respectable nationally and internationally came together and established an expert panel. That so-called expert panel will discuss all the major topics in engineering, environmental safety, and they will look at all the risk during the design stage and the execution stage of the project. 5 million GEL fund has been established with the government of Georgia. Participation of the local and municipalities at the project affected area to the decision-making process will be provided, and that fund will be spent for infrastructure and livelihood restoration works. Lately, in order to improve the effectiveness communication in our project and to reach seamless to all stakeholders, Mr. Merab Lomenetse joined us very recently as an executive. Merab has several years of experience in the industry and exceptional skills in stakeholder management, dispute resolution, and industrial communication. I would like to welcome him to the company and invite him to the stage again to present the rest of the event. Please give a very warm welcome to him.
So, basically we would like to start with the fact, from the very scratch, what is Namakhvani? Namakhvani is not a hydropower station. It's not also an investment project that's going to bring us the FDI. We firmly believe that this is a security wall for Georgia. Currently, and the security wall means that basically the energy independence is based on several hydropower plants to be built, and one of them is Namakhvani. Namakhvani, one of the reasons why we are so, as a country, why we should be and why we are so much interested in building this hydropower station is because currently, this is the last year's statistics, we're using 11 billion kilowatt hours per year. Out of this volume, 1.6 billion is imported from various sources, inclusive Russia, Turkey, and Azerbaijan. And in order to, and this is almost 12% of the total consumption. So we would like to get rid of this dependency and truly become independent. Now, what is Namakhvani by itself? Comparing to other well-known hydropower stations, Namakhvani, as I said in my previous speech, is the first investment of this magnitude after independence. It's the first hydropower station of this size after independence. Namakhvani will have the capacity of 433 megawatts. The potential generation or the output to the grid would be 1.5 billion kilowatt hours per year. This is exactly identical to the importing quantity of electric power that we're having right now. The reservoir is only 5.1 square kilometers, the surface of it. Now, if we're to compare it to Nguri, which we all know, Nguri's installed capacity is 1,300 megawatt hours. Potential output is in the range of 4 billion kilowatt hours per year, and the reservoir surface is 13.1 square kilometers. Now, what benefits will bring Namakhvani to Georgia? This is employment, this is exchange rate that we're all worried about, at least the locals. This is FDI, this is the development, the local development of the valley through our various projects, and many other economic aspects and multipliers that would allow Georgia to securely invite foreign businesses and advise the local businesses to develop in the manner that they would be supplied with electric power in a secured way. Employment is one of the core targets that we would like to hit in the country as well as in this project. And there is a plan to create 2,000 jobs during the construction period, out of which at least 75% of all employees will be Georgian citizens. Once the project is over, an indirect economic multiplier would be in the range of 5 to 6 job places in the country per each megawatt hour. We're still in process of investigating and studying this direction, what is going to be an economic multipliers, and we will revert to this issue further on when the studies are done. But preliminarily, this is very important. So you can imagine 6 times 433. This is the number of families that will be fed. This is the number of families that will have a guaranteed source of living. This is the families that will have a guaranteed way to its education and freedom and future. Environment, of course, this is a closed audience. Of course, we have to, it's going to be impossible to say that constructions and projects of this magnitude are going to have zero impact on the environment. But there is always ways to mitigate it. That's why we have invited so many foreign experts. That's why we have invited so many local experts to participate in those studies, to bring down any and all impacts and the risks close to zero. We're not saying that it's not going to be, there's not going to be an impact, but we have a ways to mitigate it and we have the ways to compensate it. And this is how we're going to move forward. Now about the consortium. We have highlighted several times that this is not only a Turkish company, this is not only a Turkish investment. It's rather a consortium of Norwegian and Turkish companies. And of course the lead here is taken by ENKA due to its experience, which starts in way below. It started in 1964. It has a 64-year experience of operating in various markets. It's a $6 billion group that is freely traded on a stock exchange. So we're not talking about such items as corruption. We're not talking about such items as you know, close relationship, direct contracting, and etc. ENKA is a company together with Norwegian partner who participated in tender, who won this tender in a transparent manner, and who is moving forward to build this hydropower station based on the 64-year experience operating up to 70 countries. Georgia is not the only one, and I should also highlight that operations in Turkey are minimal as compared to other countries. We have Australia, we have UK, we have former Soviet Union, we have African countries, we have Americas, South Americas, and many other places. As I said, ENKA is a group that has various possibilities and various areas of operations. Possibilities, I refer to the expertise that they could bring to any project that they're engaged in. ENKA is operating over 27 power plants, has been delivered by ENKA, with cumulative 22.5 megawatt hours of installed capacity. Experience in IPPs is 4,000 megawatt hours, built, owned, and operated. Generated 32 billion kilowatt hours worldwide. Over huge experience in construction industry. Over 1,000 kilometers of highways, motorways, bridges, tunnels, designed and built by this group. Now a bit about the tendering process, you know, which often is blamed to be not transparent enough. We as a group, we're open to communicate any and all issues. Any and all questions will be answered to respective individuals who are interested to be objective in discussions. The tender was conducted in 2016. The Norwegian CEGG won the tender in 2017. Since then, it took almost 2 years till the parties, I mean the government and the private consortium came to an amicable contract which was executed in 2019. In 2019, and we're also transparent about it, that the shareholding of the consortium has changed, and currently ENCA is the majority shareholder. Studies, another issue that we always get hit on. I should say that this project is one of the most studied projects overall in the country, in the energy sector. The study started in the Soviet times, in 1950s. They continued in 1970s. They continued further in early 2000s, already with the expertise of the foreign institutional organizations. It was IFC and others who were involved. The project was updated, of course, for the tender period for the year 2000, and I refer to the year 2015, and then tendered out. But this consortium, considering its huge experience in such type of projects, of course had its own requirements to the studies. So on top of the existing studies, the companies, I mean Turkish and Norwegian companies, the consortium brought in various experts to confirm and reconfirm and mostly validate those studies that were in place. One of the most important studies that everybody is very much interested in is environmental and social impacts assessment, which is currently prepared by foreign experts, inclusive Ramboll. And we will be more than glad to share these studies for discussion with any and all interested parties who will be engaged in the process of discussions, in the process of assuring those people who are against this Namakhvani the Namakhvani hydropower plant, to assure them that this is a must project and there is no other choice. Meanwhile, there was a 4-point resolution that was elaborated with the government. And in these regards, there was a decision made that company would overlook its construction schedule. Currently, we're not behind the schedule, we're right on top of it. But we do see a potential risk that occurs with these protests outside. If this issue is not solved with joint forces, we foresee that there might be a problem in finishing this project in a timely manner. One of the agreed items was that we would elaborate the schedule that would allow us to not postpone, not stop, but wait till the moment when all the studies and revisions are in place for the phases such as dam construction, for the phases such as powerhouse constructions, and etc. Another item that we agreed in the recent past with the government, and we are very happy that and very thankful to the government authorities for such an involvement in this project, for understanding the magnitude of this investment and the importance of it. We agreed to set up a 5 million lari fund that would be used for the valley, that would be keened and geared towards the people who are living in this area, who are affected by this project this way or another. This fund, together with the other social activities, will give the new life to the valley. This is not the end of their life. This is the beginning of the new one. The third one was that company will have a Georgian director, and I am part of the team. I am local, I was born here, and I love this country as much as any other Georgian. And I would love to compete with them in how much we love this country. The fourth one is an independent council of Georgian experts that will oversee the projects to rule out the doubts about the project safety. And safety is the #1 issue for ENCA in any case. Yes, we do welcome everyone to join. And yes, we did create a dream team of foreign experts to come and work with local experts on the issues of security, on the issues of environment, to reconfirm the studies that were already conducted. Basically, this is all that I would like to share with you at this stage. And thank you very much for coming once again. Thank you very much for your attention. And I will be here to answer any and all of your questions. But right now, I would like to invite to the stage Her Excellency, Ms. Ambassador, because I know how much she loves this country, and I know how much she respects this country. So, Ms. Ambassador, I would like to ask you to join us, to share your ideas with us. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. I have watched this presentation for the first time myself, but I knew some of the facts because I had to be involved in this issue, whereas as the ambassadors we're not supposed to be going into this sort of projects with this detail. The reason why I have found myself on Formula TV this Sunday night, Irakli Tabluashvili is among us, so thank you very much for that invitation, for the opportunity to speak, is because we have seen this information campaign against this project taking a form of a political and anti-Turkish nature. This started early autumn, and as I said on the Formula TV, I said we were very surprised to see a cross being put in the middle of the construction site, the way to protest. It was an open reference to a religious discrimination, or like using the religion in defense of environment or whatever. So we were very disturbed, and I had to look into who is against this project. And I found out that yes, as we were speaking with a friend just before the meeting started, there has been a tradition of anti-hydropower plants in Georgia. So there is a segment of your society in Georgia who are against this. This has been the case in Norway, in Turkey, in France. In all countries, there is a group of people who believe that hydroelectric power plants are not the answer to energy needs. Now that segment, I can understand, but when I saw who are these people, their numbers are not up to 4,000, 5,000 people who you would see in Kutaisi. Or they're not the people who are necessarily putting a cross. So then I received 2 letters from an environmental NGO, which I believe those letters identically were sent to other diplomatic missions, who were talking about this environmental concerns. Yet again, I looked into, I went to the company at that point. I said, all right, can we know more about your preparedness for addressing environmental concerns? And then we found out that those who are raising these concerns do not have any studies, do not have any scientific input to be challenged or mitigated by scientific, factual information. So, of course, I encouraged the company to involve many experts as possible, and foreign and local, so that there would not be allegations because of the suspicion, which I must admit in all countries, the people, not necessarily, they don't trust the governments in terms of their ability to protect the environment. So we wanted the company, as the embassy, to focus on that issue. Because this project, at the end of the day, is going to be built for the Georgian people and for Georgia, while the company will obviously make a profit of its investment. but it cannot be done against the Georgian interests. And the government of Georgia is responsible for weighing that interest, whether a damage to environment weighs heavier than the gains of this project. And this company is not a contractor. This is the first time that we have such big magnitude of a private company in Georgia in the post-Soviet, after independence times, investing in such one big project, and this is strategic, by the way. So they are investing. They're not doing it by government money. They're not doing by grants of international organizations. They're putting money. So they can't do something which will be crumbled by a flood, collapsing by an earthquake, or giving a damage to a country where they're investing. So, and I am behind what I said on the TV. We trust ENKA. We trust their ability and integrity, which is both important. We trust ENKA Renewables, which has been partnered by a Norwegian company, Clean Energy, and we believe that this is a very healthy partnership. And also, we see this not as only a Turkish investment. It's very multinational operation involving the Swiss, French, whatever. Like, you know, they take the experts from wherever they are. Turkish-Georgian relations being targeted by propaganda, by fake news, by simple hybrid methods. And every time I speak about NATO publicly, there's always a comment coming somewhere from Ajara or Guria somewhere which says that Turkey will be invading Batumi soon. So this is why I said on Iraklis TV that no, Turkey will not be invading Batumi. And so Namakhvani project, with this development, the protests started in a weird timing way before the elections. And we saw that whoever is manipulating the narratives, facts, whoever is funding certain sources of protest, which has a snowballing effect on the others, they've been working on this very sinisterly and involving political parties as well. Because just before the elections, of course, if you have an audience, all political forces would like to make benefit of it. And I have been giving my messages singularly to all political leaders in Georgia that certain issues, national security issues, should be left above the domestic political concerns. There should be a consensus of national security. That is critical infrastructure, energy security, which collides, and also, and I would say, protecting your information space. In the Namakhvani, we have seen an overlap. Energy security, critical infrastructure, and information security. This project is a good example of case study, which I would want security experts to look into in terms of how to manage these three, what you could say, hybrid threats to security. And so, and how we can build resilience in the public opinion, in the government, in terms of responsiveness, because after all, it's not the embassy. I'm only interested here because there is a Turkish company interest, and as a NATO member who is very much interested in Georgia's energy security, with whom we have already established big projects, the BTC, the TANAP, and the BTK. We have Michael Cowgill here. He lived through that BTC, and I think more of it, and he has a lot of lessons to tell to all of us. But these old lessons should not be forgotten. Obviously, the old threats are still here. So, my message is that the company should, together with the government, work on how to manage that information space. And with the government, my embassy is ready to work on that energy security issues. It's not only the Ministry of Economy and Energy and Sustainable Development or the Ministry of Agriculture and Environment. It is a whole of government approach is needed here. And we really appreciated, I really appreciated to see Prime Minister Garibashvili speaking very openly and giving the message clearly. And I had appreciated a couple of weeks ago when Minister Turnava spoke in the parliament when she said she will not accept discrimination and xenophobic narratives against the Turkish investor. That is a particular problem that I find because the Turkish-Georgian relations are developing mainly on the economic and business levels, and we can do this regional. At the time when Nagorno-Karabakh war is over, when Russia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia are talking around the table about connectivity, accessibility, transport, and all these issues, you should expect pressure. And we should be smart to counter that pressure with smart initiatives. And the best way is business. It's not the aids, the grants, it's the business. We should integrate the Georgian business investment space into the European Atlantic business space. And that's why this company for me is important. It could have been another company, another Turkish company. It could have been the same situation. But I do believe in this case, and I'm behind my word, Enka is a company with full integrity. There is no way of we can tolerate this corruption in these insinuations even, let alone accusations. And that's why I was very clear again on TV, very public. Whoever is talking about corruption, they have to prove it. Otherwise, I find it as a manipulation and distortion of facts and an attack on the company and to the Turkish flag, which the company holds. So the embassy is ready to support this project, but embassy is also ready to develop this public resilience for understanding the facts, absorbing the information, and support whatever way possible if there is any environmental and social issues that we should be thinking about. I've been to that valley. I've been to this beautiful space where the road connects to Racha from Imereti. There are already two, by the way, dams there. So this is not the first dam that is appearing on Rioni. And so the dams which exist there gives us a basis to have an evaluation as well. But there is also I have other investors, Turkish investors in Georgia, who have invested in hydro energy. And we have seen certain examples of how the protests that they face from locally were, in some cases, not always, were malintended. It's like The person knows that there was going to be expropriation there. So everybody gets their money. Not in this case, I'm talking about a different case. So the company pays everyone the money that is above legally required, and everybody agrees. And there's this one guy who keeps building his house so that the cost increases. And because everybody sold, and because there's only this guy, his price keeps growing. And he belongs to the opposition. He has a big family, so he has the nuisance value, high nuisance value. And he puts it in front of the investor and the local authorities. This is a case which I am currently working on to see how we can solve this. The company has lost 30 million US dollars. This is not a good example for Georgia. So I just share these examples because we, with good intentions, with transparency, accountability, and responsibility is required from all investors, should be required all investors. And that's why I actually was very happy to learn, just because of this case, that there is an association, business association here established in Georgia, which is going to bring together the renewable energy producers to develop GREDA. And I look forward also to working with them to set the standards, the business investor standards, and the business framework, which we as the diplomatic missions, our commercial sections, can convey to the possible investors the rules of the game. The rules of the game in Georgia is this, we have to be able to say. And everybody needs FDIs. In Turkey, we need FDIs as well. So when I'm promoting Invest in Georgia, seriously, some members of the cabinet in Turkey questions my intentions, like, why are you doing this? But I do this because Georgia is important, not only because I love the country, but it's objectively speaking, Georgia is important. It's what we call the stone which holds the Caucasus together. And if we can't enhance security and development in Georgia, which is, of course, the responsibility of the Georgian government, but if we can't help them to do this, this region will face higher risks. And I don't know about other countries, but for my country, we are a part of this region. We are directly affected by anything that goes here. And this is not only lip service. This is why Georgia is important for us. And energy security of Georgia is important for us. Business security, information security, resilience, sovereignty, which means to decide, to be able to decide through democratic participation, but on your own, in your own territory, which you can secure yourself. This is what sovereignty means. So, this is the issues that I wanted to share with you, the thoughts. I thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope you will be continuing as the company this public information sessions in whichever format. And I thank for everyone. And if there are any questions, Ambassador is happy to answer and communicate about this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I would like to ask Her Excellency Ambassador of Norway to say a couple of words about the project, because her country is also part of the consortium.
So, thank you very much. My name is Helena Sand Andersen, Ambassador of Norway. Been here for 1.5 years, but can firmly say, just as my Turkish colleague, that I am indeed very, very fond of this country. I think Ambassador Özkan made a number of very important points, and I have to say I agree with her in all of them. So there's not too much to add, but just perhaps to underline a few points. I don't think that this point can be underlined enough. It was made by Vera from Enka Renewables, it was made by Ambassador Yazgan, but Namakwani is a strategic project for Georgia. It's going to make an important contribution to the country's energy security and its economic development. As you have heard, the Norwegian investor Clean Energy Group has a 10% share. For Norway, this might not sound much for Georgia or for this project, but this is the largest Norwegian investment in Georgia, and for this reason it's also very important for the embassy. So I'm not here as a spokesperson of the Norwegian company Clean Energy Group, but I'm here on behalf of the embassy as an interested party in, indeed, just as Turkey, bringing more Norwegian investors to Georgia and showing those investors that it's possible to work here with security for your investment and to bring in our principles of a lot of weight on due process and corporate social responsibility, which I'm very glad to understand that Enka also stands for. Norway has more than 100 years of experience in hydropower development, and today 98% of our energy comes from that, green and clean. We believe that Georgia can achieve the same, and for Georgia's economic development, it's important to strive for that. Green energy plays an important key role in decarbonizing our economies, which is also highly relevant to Georgia, because this planet is only one. We're all stuck on it together, so we're going to have to work to that end together. Of course, it's not uncommon that large hydropower projects are controversial. In Norway, we've had lots of examples of this. There have been significant demonstrations, long-lasting disagreements, and non-violent protests and airing of grievances are part of any democracy, and they have to be respected. We have noted the concerns related to security and environment in Namakwani. It's vital, as I mentioned, that due process is followed and that important documentation is made available. And I think it's been reassuring for all of us here today to hear how Enka Renewables is working on exactly that issue, to provide documentation and to be open and enter into discussion with anyone who wants to look into this and have an opinion on this project. Open and transparent communication with the local population, with the civil society, is of the essence, and it's a responsibility not only for the companies involved, but also, and very much so, for Georgian authorities who took the decision to have the Namakwani Dam built and who prepared the tender and who chose to decide that this would be an important contribution to Georgia's energy security. I believe it's also important that critics of the project remain objective and give all the information which is made available to them a fair hearing. It's important to avoid rumors, to avoid misunderstanding, to avoid circulating inaccurate information, which will only make it more difficult for us to find a solution, and of course, deliberate disinformation about the project is completely unacceptable, and we have seen too much of that. And I think this particularly goes for disinformation which is aimed at creating any tensions in society and playing on ethnophobia and xenophobia. I would also, as a last note, encourage caution when it comes to politicizing this issue. As we've heard, and the point I made in the beginning, this project is important for Georgia's energy security and for its economic development. And for this reason, it should be approached by everyone and all parties from a purely objective point of view. Thank you so much.
Dear guests, this is all of our speakers. Now we're ready to answer any and all questions, if there may be, for this session. And if not, then we're welcoming you to a small luncheon, to a small lunch for private discussions. Any questions? In such case, thank you very much for coming. We sincerely appreciate your standby. We sincerely appreciate your help and support. Thank you very much once again.